Hey, folks, welcome to episode 3 of Recommend an Album to Review. All right, so for this week, I chose a suggestion from a subscriber, and this is from a band that I never heard before. So, an album that I never heard before. And I was kind of blown away by this record. It's in a way this series is kind of a little bit of a selfish thing because I'm always looking out for new music, and so when somebody makes a comment and says, hey, check out this record by this band, it's really cool. Man, I'm all ears. So, and this was a definite winner. So the record that I'm talking about this week is, now I don't know anything about this band, and I mean, I looked at it kind of briefly. I understand they're from Sweden. That could be wrong. I didn't really do any research. I just listened to the record. And man, I was pretty blown away. This album has, I mean, you could hear the influences coming out of this. I mean, there's some Sabbath in there. It's kind of doomy, but not totally doomy. It's kind of sludgy. It's got like elements of doom, sludge, some Sabbath in there. I hear a lot of Clutch in there as well, because there's the songs, they morph quite a bit like a lot of the Clutch stuff does. And just the riffs are fantastic. The guitar playing is phenomenal. The guitar tones on this are really, really good. It's just a really, really good record. So let me go quickly song by song and tell you about this album. So let's look at the first track. All right, the first track, Deconstruction, starts off with just these big, doomy, heavy chords, very Sabbath like. And then it picks up. So there's the doomy part, and then it picks up in tempo, and then there's a really nice breakdown. It's got a lot going on. The vocalist of the band, and I don't know anything about this band, so I'm not even sure what his name is. I didn't look up anything on this band. I'm just going by the music. Um, i- at first his vocals kind of take a little bit of getting used to, but the sentiment and the way he sings and the way he delivers that song, and all the songs on this record, really, really good. I really dig the guy's voice. Like, you would expect to hear somebody with kind of a gravelly kind of voice, to kind of sing this kind of music, but his voice is actually quite clean sounding. There's not a lot of graininess to his voice, and it really, really works well with this band. But yeah, I mean, right off the bat, Deconstruction is a fantastic song. So on number 2, Flag of Fate. This is probably the most poppy song in on the record. I really dig the track a lot. It's one of my favorite tracks on it. It's got some real hooky chords on it. It's just got a nice hook, a nice flow to it. Another killer track. Song number 3, It's Not Because of You. Again, it's got those great big chords, and then it morphs into kind of more of a mellow part. It's got a great breakdown. You know, it's another one of those songs. It's just got so many things going on to it. It's not the same thing from beginning to end. And I call that the Clutch influence, because Clutch does that quite a bit too. I should mention too, there's a lot of angst in this record. You can really hear it in that particular song. And another killer track, another killer track. All right, track number 4, An Alternative to Freedom. This one has got, again, a different sounding song. It's got kind of a swampy, like a very heavy, swampy kind of doom groove to it. Another cool song. Another flavor. I mean, there's a lot of different flavors going on this record, and so that's a nice. Again, I'm all about diversity. I like hearing different things from song to song, and that's just another ingredient thrown in. Cool track. All right, the next track is called Ghost's House. Now, not because it's called Ghost's House, but the opening riff to me reminds me of Ghost. But man, there's a little bit of prog going on in this track as well. Again, another ingredient. But yeah, really, really good song. Again, a lot of changes, breakdowns, and gets heavy. There's always there's dynamics in the track, and yeah, and then a little bit of prog. So there's another ingredient. All right, let's move on. All right, then we got White Light Suicide, which is more of the quieter tunes, but then uh, there's these really just heavy crushing chords that come in, just kind of just very doomy, head banging, very Sabbathy, which kind of perks up the track and makes it really cool. So that's White Light Suicide. Okay, let's move on to Democracy. This one, Democracy, it's got like a really, really cool chordal riff that keep comes in and kind of hooks you. Another band that I hear a lot of in their music, in Witchcraft's music, is I hear some Budgie in there as well. And for me, bands like Budgie and Clutch, they kind of have a lot similar, a lot going on in the turn. In fact, in terms of they put a lot of different elements in their songs. They morph quite a bit, and yeah, I definitely hear some Budgie and Democracy, especially with that heavy chordal riff thing that they've got going on through it. Another really cool track. All right, let's move on to Dystopia. All right, Dystopia is probably one of the, if not probably the moodiest track on this. It's starts off real slow, but then again at the end it comes in with the big heavy chords and a really cool chorus. Yeah, another cool track. This one's a little longer. This one's a little over 6 minutes. Most of these tracks are like 4 to 5 minutes. The next one, though, Dead End, is an epic. It's 12 minutes long. So let's talk about Dead End. At 12 minutes long, there's a lot going on in this track. There's a lot of light and shade. Again, that kind of moodiness, that angst is in there. But, you know, there's enough going on. It keeps you hooked, it keeps you entertained. The riffs are fantastic. Like the riffs throughout this whole record are fantastic. The chordal riffs and the single note lines and the guitar fills are, man, they're like just perfection. Like the guitar playing on this, as I mentioned at the top, is just really, really top notch. I mean, the guys are playing the right stuff at the right time. The tones are amazing, and I mean, all throughout this record. And yeah, Dystopia, longest track on here, but still damn good. All right, the final track, By Your Definition. This one for me was probably the weakest song on here. Still not a bad song. It's just I I I enjoyed the previous songs a little bit better, but again, not a terrible song. You know, Same type of idea. The heavy, the dark, the dark and the light, heavy, mellow parts. But I don't know, just the composition itself didn't really grab me as much as some of the other tracks. But I mean, the rest of this record, man, phenomenal. So to summarize, if you want to listen to a band that, if you're into bands like Budgie and Clutch and Sabbath and a little bit of doom, but with some really great guitar tones and some really good songwriting and a great vocalist, lots of angst, you should check this band out. The album is called Legend, the band is called Witchcraft. All right, thanks so much for watching. Yeah, put in the comments a record, recommend a record, recommend an album to review. So I've got something to look forward to for next week. So hopefully you enjoyed this video. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe. If you want to help support the channel, the links are below. And thanks for the submission, and we'll catch you next week. Cheers.